Honda has upped the game with technology, making this subcompact SUV a little bit more desirable. We're showcasing the 2026 Honda HR-V EXL in platinum white pearl over gray interior. The EXL is the top trim of 3 different options that you can go for on the HR-V. But is it better than the Acura ADX that receives 32 horsepower more and 41 pound-feet of torque more because it's a completely different engine? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over some pros and cons while we're comparing it against that and the competition, and we're going to go over the full specs of the exterior, the interior, take it for a drive so you could see what the motivation is out of this 2.0 liter 4-cylinder. Full LED headlights and daytime runnings, that's going to be on all trims, as well as your LED indicators and the LED turn signals on the side view mirror. The glossy black, that's going to be on the sport trim. The lower gets the gloss black treatment. The front and rear parking sensors is only going to be on the EXL. 7 inches of clearance for the all-wheel drive, 7.3 inches of clearance for the front-wheel drive configuration. And unfortunately, I feel like Acura kind of stole the spotlight, because we're only getting 158 horsepower here and 138 pound-feet of torque, where there you're getting 190 horsepower and you're getting the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which this should have that option, and it would make this vehicle amazing. It is paired to a CVT transmission, which a lot of people dislike, but when you're talking about achieving 26 to 32 mpgs, I can deal with them. A McPherson strut front suspension that's going to be standard on all trims with a multi-link rear suspension, agile handling assist, driving mode select. You're going to have 3 driving modes here, whereas when you go to Acura, you'll have 4 driving modes. 17-inch gray alloy wheels is going to start off on the LE. The Sport will have the 18-inch gloss black alloy wheels. These are 18-inch machine finish alloy wheels, Berlin black inserts. You'll have the glossy black that's going to surround the wheel well housing and the lower skirt, and that's going to be the same on the Sport trim. Now, comparing this against the Corolla Cross, this is going to have a lot more value and a lot more desirable features, especially when you see the interior, because we have upped the tech. So Honda is upping the game, but it is starting to get a little bit old on the exterior. It's sharing the same platform as the Civic. So what I like about this is whether you go HR-V or CR-V, it's basically a Civic lifted up. This would be the smaller version, maybe consider it like a hatch. So then comparing this against the CX-30, that's going to be more money, but then you have more performance underneath the hood because you can option a turbocharge. That's where Honda drops the ball. Because if they would have optioned the same engine that's in the ADX and not necessarily put the same vehicle in Acura line and put it here, it would have been a home run. And the Honda sensing is going to include the collision mitigation braking, the road departure mitigation, lane departure warning, forward collision, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, traffic sign recognition, blind spot information, rear cross traffic monitoring, low speed brake, traffic jam, driver attention monitor, and auto high beam. LED tail lights, and it's going to be the same rear as the ADX, except this lower bit here will have dual exhaust that's exposed. Here we're just going to have the glossy black and the satin aluminum on the lower trim. The curb weight on this 2-wheel drive is at 3,221 pounds. So the all-wheel drive, it's just a touch over 100 pounds. The weight distribution is at 59.41. The all-wheel drive will make it a 58.42. And as for the Kona, I feel it looks like a taxi cab, whereas this looks like an SUV or kind of a lifted hatch. So I'm okay with the styling here. I think they do a great job with MPGs. It sucks that it is a CVT and you don't have a lot more power similar to the ADX, but as a vehicle that's in the low $30,000 price, you are getting a lot of value when you go to Honda. But let me know which way you would go. Toyota, Hyundai, Mazda, or would you pick this HR-V? Quick release going into 24.4 cubic feet of storage. LED interior lights, you get a 12-volt charger. Underneath the floor, you get some storage. And the best part is you get a spare tire that's tucked underneath that. Now to maximize the 55.1 cubic feet, pull these levers here. I'm kind of tall, so I can do so in the back. It's going to split fold at a 60-40 split, and that maximizes the cargo capacity to the HR-V. The key fob to the HR-V EXL. 8-way power seat adjustment for the driver is only going to be on the EXL, otherwise manual seat adjustment for the front, and it'll still be manual seat for the passenger. The leather seats that's perforated is only going to be on this trim. Heated starts on the sport trim, and you have an option of 4, 6, or 8 speakers. But the twist to that, it's all 180 watts. The dashboard is going to have the honeycomb design, so this is going to be a little different than the Acura ADX. You'll have a contrast stitch that'll come here for the ADX, same 9-inch infotainment screen, and this is now standard. But I think the air vents, the way it works here, just looks a little bit more so like the Civic, like it's supposed to. It's not really a driver-focused setup. You have a his and her area here, but there isn't any USB. But for the driver's side, there is. Let's fire it up. Auto-dimming rear view mirror, LED interior lights, going into this 9-inch infotainment screen. Now, this does not have Sirius XM, which a lot of people always talk bad about it. You can use it through your app because you have Bluetooth audio, so you could use that for the connectivity. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse, and you get a reverse camera. The trajectory does expand, and you have different camera layouts, and you can line it up for the tow. Dual climate control settings is only on this trim. Wireless charging pad is on all trims, and you have 2 USB-C ports here, and it's going to be soft materials that bulge into this area here, which are driving mode select. You have a total of 3 different driving modes: normal, econ, and snow. Now, the gauge cluster is a 7-inch TFT display that can go through an array of different content. When you step it up to Acura and spend $10,000 more, this is a 10.2 inch. Leather wrap steering wheel, multi-function. And going over here, you have some storage. It's soft to touch. Check out the leg space that you have. And headroom, more than enough. Moonroof starts on this trim. Dashboard lays into the door card. So I like the styling that comes into the HRV. Just hard materials are everywhere. They do give you a touch of gloss black here, one touch up and down just for the front windows, and the same size storage pocket that's in the ADX, because you know what? This is literally the same door card. Going into the back. This is where the ADX actually loses value to me, because it's the same seating. The only difference is you have an armrest with cup holders, you'll have USB ports here, and you'll have air vents. Here you don't have any of that. You do get the storage behind the passenger seat, and the door card is identical to that. So everyday materials, you still get the somewhat glossy black here with a beverage holder. Sitting behind me, the seats are carved out enough. I mean, you literally have about 6 inches of leg space. My knees do sit up in the air, so even if I scoot down a little bit, I'll still have about 3 to 4 inches. Headroom, more than enough. You got another 4 inches there. LED interior lights, they're right here, and you just kind of tap it. So I like that because it's not in the way of my head. Sliding into the center, you're going to be sharing some feet space, and your knees sit up quite a bit, I would say about 4 to 6 inches. But leg and shoulder space, it's not really that bad for the size of this vehicle. Headroom, it's actually doable here. I got another 2 to 4 inches, and a lot of that is derived because look at this. This whole area here is carved out for the back seat. The HRV, 7 inches of clearance, and up to 7.3 inches of clearance when you go into this 2-wheel drive configuration. 158 horsepower with 138 pound-feet of torque. Do I feel that Honda didn't give enough? Well, we're going to see how the drive is. I will say for Acura purposes, I feel that the extra 32 horsepower and 41 pound-feet of torque, it is a completely different engine. It would have been better that they option it here instead of charging basically $10,000 to $12,000 more than this. Because when you go into the EX, this is the top trim of the 3 trims that the HRV offers. The tech that has been added is more than enough. I mean, now you have the 9-inch screen that's going to be in the center. It's going to be the same thing as the ADX. The only difference is you get a 10.2 gauge cluster, and in the rear you get some charging ports. Not a big deal, realistically speaking, because I still have 3 charging ports and a standard wireless charging pad. Now we're going to see how the motivation is. We've already done a review on the ADX. We're going to put it into that S for the Sport. Here we go. I mean, realistically speaking, it gets the job done. It's a CVT transmission, and it's the same thing in Acura. That's why, for me, it's mind-boggling when you think about it, because why? I get the fact that we do need a premium luxury vehicle that's subcompact, but maybe change it up a little bit more. I appreciate that Acura has given more horsepower and torque and changed the engine, and we got a bump in power last year on the HRV, but this year it's really all about tech, and that's going to take me into some pros and cons, which you've already heard a ton of pros. So we're going to start off with the cons. No power lift gate, and we're over $32,000. You have to go to the top trim in order to get leather. No option for ventilated seats. There's absolutely no options to begin with, and you have to go up to the third tier in order to get all of these desirable features. Now, by all means, this is not a performance variant. You're going to be using regular fuel, but just to see some of the performance. Now, when you use that S opposed to the D, it's going to keep that RPM up there. I actually prefer it in some cases, but once you're finished using it, I would recommend just putting it into drive, because it's a CVT transmission. It's gear ratio, which also leads me into another con, because the longevity of a CVT is not as good as a traditional transmission or an eCVT transmission, but in this case there's no hybrid powertrain, so that only leaves an option for a CVT or a regular transmission like an 8-speed or 10-speed, but usually Honda typically puts a 10-speed transmission in their vehicle. Road noise does filter in. You have sound cancellation, so I appreciate that, because when you're talking about a vehicle that can be under $30,000, it just makes it a little bit more attracting. 17-inch wheels or 18-inch wheels, they have changed the wheel configuration. We do have some new colors, but realistically speaking, each trim you can only pick about 6 colors. When you go into the base LE, you can only pick 5 colors, and going into the sport trim, you only have 1 color to option in the interior. Now, I've engaged it in Econ mode, which is basically eco mode. I want to see if there's any difference in the pedal feel. I've reviewed the vehicle a couple times, but I always like to share this information because maybe you haven't watched the channel, you don't check out the live streams on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, now you can see it in real time with this review. So far, there isn't any difference in the pedal. Putting it back to normal, it's the same thing. The only time that you feel a different engagement is shifting it into the S, which is basically the sport mode, and then check out what it does. It ticks that RPM up, and it keeps it up. Whereas when you put it into drive, it ticks it down, and then when you put it into Econ, it does lower the RPM, but the pedal feel is the same. Checking the brakes, it doesn't feel heavy. So whether you mash on the gas or the brakes, you're gonna be fine. The upgraded technology is definitely a plus. Getting wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, I just wish that they would have maybe considered integrating this 9-inch into the dashboard. Dual climate control settings, you have to go up the tier. This is the unfortunate thing with Honda, but the nice thing is there's only 3 trims to choose from, and it doesn't really get that pricey going into a higher trim. It's still a little bit over $30,000, or you could go a little bit under $30,000. But is it enough power? I mean, I appreciate that we got the bump in power already. I just wish they would have given us a little bit more of a powerhouse variant like they do with the ADX, because realistically, that's the only reason why I would go up to the ADX besides getting the extra warranty, because everything else is the same. The suspension's the same layout. You get the Agile handling. We're gonna drop it into S. Turn radius at a stop point is gonna be identical to Acura, and let's rock and roll. And you'll hear that engine all the way up to 50, 60 miles per hour. The road noise does start filtering in. We're gonna brake check it now. And that's what I mean. It's literally an everyday vehicle. It does pretty decent with gas consumption, and you have room for occupants in the back. Comparing this against the Corolla Cross, it's going to be a little bit too small. Bumping it up into the RAV4, it's going to be a little bit too long. So this kind of fits that sweet spot. Going against the Kona, it's kind of tight. They do open up the space pretty good in the back, but cargo capacity, this is going to be better. It's also going to be a little bit smoother in the drive. The steering doesn't have any weight really. You're not going to have a lot of feedback. This is a day in and day out driving car. So don't think of anything at all for performance. Service is going to be light and easy. For MPGs, as you drive the vehicle, it will get a little bit better, but overall, you're going to be hitting about 3 to 4 RPMs to get the vehicle motivated, especially if you're going onto the interstate, which is a con to me, but that's also because it's a CVT transmission. It's a smaller engine, and you don't have a lot of horsepower and torque. So it's not going to throw you back. You don't have to worry about your coffee spilling in the cup holders. And the way they're designed, I kind of like it, because if you were to mash on the gas all the time and you spill some of your drink, it's not going to go in the wireless charger like it does on some vehicles. The interior is due for a light refresh, but I'm still okay with the design because it keeps the Civic alive. I would definitely go with this over the ADX, even though I like some of the styling elements of the ADX. I just can't see the value of spending $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 more when you're getting basically everything here except for the power. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here.